Welcome back to Beards and Brews. Hey, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe or follow no matter where you're listening. If you have any suggestions for movies, let us know, and you'll know exactly when we have another one brewing. Fellas, do you hear that? The jingle jangle in the air, the cold nipping at your nose. It's time for Krampus. What'd you think?
You talking about that jingle jangle in the air. Krampus got them bells, them holiday hell bells. Wicka wicka wow.
Yeah, so this was the first time that I'd seen this movie, heard a little bit about it, didn't realize that it was PG-13. And for those of you out there screaming that we should have watched the naughty version, the R or unrated version, I'll tell you exactly what I told my ex-wife. Honey, 4 more minutes isn't going to make that much of a difference.
I can't really complain. This movie is like a cross between Gremlins and Trick or Treat. It's festive and frightening. I think kids can get into this with a PG-13. They can enjoy a little bit of like that tongue-in-cheek family humor followed up by some genuinely like nightmarish looking creatures.
Yeah, you're right. I'll actually jump on board like the whole combination thing. Like this movie kind of feels like almost like Home Alone and Drag Me to Hell with like a little bit of that holiday spirit sprinkled on top. I was getting some Sam Raimi vibes, like some good ones.
Yeah, for me, definitely, especially toward the end, I was getting those trick-or-treat vibes, but like this felt more like a Christmas movie to me than a horror movie, and I really wanted a little bit more on the other side of that, you know what I mean?
I didn't mind the pacing. I kind of enjoyed that the movie just, not that it took its time, that it was slow or anything, but like, you know, it didn't just like put everything on the table all at once.
Maybe I just wanted a little bit more of like that sort of historical lore about Krampus. Where did he come from? Where did he go?
Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe?
That's a good point. Yeah. Because you guys remember, like, the mom we'll talk about shortly, like, she knows everything about Krampus. Of course, she's had a history with her. Spoilers. But we do get a little flashback, and it's bare bones. It's just like, oh, by the way, I know the guy.
And I want to talk about that for a little bit. Like, Omi, that's the grandmother's name. She's this, like, old, German grandmother, only speaks German unless it's really convenient. That little cutaway makes it look like this is the 17th century or something, that this is happening, like 17th century Germany, very gothic looking. She would have been born in like the 50s or the 60s. Like this cutaway scene, this is Cold War. This isn't, what are we doing here?
Listen, she's old. She doesn't remember things well. It was dark times. Krampus killed her family. She can remember however the hell she wants. Leave that old woman alone.
She's just making shit up.
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't want to call it dementia or nothing, but like her memories are stop motion.
David Koechner does. She's like, oh, that old bitch. She's just saying a bunch of things she saw in her head.
He says that about everybody and in real life.
Yeah. Speaking of David Koechner in real life, do I need to say this? I've talked to this guy a couple times. Yeah, that's just my humble brag. It's not very humble, but it is a brag.
The name drop.
He's also been to the Saturn Awards.
That's true. That's what I hear.
Yeah, I have been to the Saturn Awards. Yeah, David Koechner was not there at the Saturn Awards.
But speaking of David Koechner, he was an anchorman. Mm-hmm. So every time he just did something crass, I just expected like a whammy right afterwards.
Yes.
It's science.
See, I mostly know him from The Office. He was Todd Packer, and he's just like y'all have watched The Office. He is a crass motherfucker.
Every time I got to see him, I'm right there in the same thing with like Eric, and I was waiting for some fucking Anchorman stuff. Mm-hmm. And there's just something about his face. It's built for comedy. No shit.
Yeah, it is.
As soon as you look at him and he just tweaks an eyebrow, or he furrows his, he wrinkles his forehead, or he just cocks his mouth to the side a little bit, you're just like, yeah, he's about to do something stupid. And he does, so it works. Oh my god, he's this movie's Randy Quaid.
Yes, dude, he is Uncle Eddie. He's basically just Krampus Eddie.
Yeah, that's the whole reason that they've got to go upstairs in that one scene, because the shitter's full.
Well, let's set the stage. We talked about David, but there's some other people in this movie, I think.
Yeah.
Got Ben from Parks and Rec, Adam Scott.
Adam Scott, yeah.
I thought, personally, he did a great job doing the whole, he seems like a dude that's experienced trauma. He took it pretty well. And then, Toni Collette, who why doesn't she have an Oscar? Fellas, come on.
Because the Academy Awards don't care about horror movies. I said it.
She's the most serious thing in this film. Even whenever you're having, the labyrinth-style elves crawl through windows or the gingerbread men come to life to attack. She is still selling it like this is Hereditary.
Oh, yeah.
She's just a great actor. There's a scene coming up, in fact. At the beginning, this whole thing takes place during Christmas, of course. You got the in-laws coming in. They don't quite mesh with the family at home. What are you gonna do? And, like, they have this conversation, sister to sister, and they obviously don't get along, but it's just like this little bit of venom in whatever they said to each other, whether it was like half nice or not.
Yeah, we've all got an aunt like that.
We have the two sides of, the family here, and there's clearly like the liberal side and the Republican side. And it works out really well because you get to see like both sides of their story. And whenever they start bitching, which is really amusing, it's the same topics you see the memes about. And I will say this. When you see the main character's children, you go, yeah, they're whatever kids. They're your classic episode of Goosebumps, I do nothing wrong, wholesome children. And then you get to see the Cousin Eddie's kids, and you go, okay, these are just the bullies from Ernest Scared Stupid.
And that one kid just like showed up, and he just immediately spaced out. I was just like, oh my god, that's just like every kid from Billy Madison.
No, that's the kid from Bad Santa. Just, wants to go make a sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
Are you f***ing with me, kid?
Yeah, all of David Koechner's kids are somewhere between, like, redneck and straight up. Can we say that now?
Hey, look, we're holding up free speech, all right?
I don't know. I'm not holding up free speech that much.
Well, to go with the whole political whatever, like, man, that was a great way just to put in, like, personal touches into everybody. Like, oh, he's got a gun. He knows this. This is what they're going to do. All within just one conversation. No time wasted. It's so goddamn efficient. Goodness, fellas.
And you know who else we haven't mentioned yet who's just got, like, a mouthful of venom? Conchata Ferrell, West Virginia native, by the way. Conchata Ferrell is in this as Aunt Dorothy. I guess she's another sister, I thought, or maybe like Toni Collette's mom. I don't know who she is, but she's there and she is not having this.
She spent too much time around Charlie Sheen because her answer to drama is immediately get the children drunk.
Yep. Come on, kids, I'll show you how to use peppermint schnapps.
I loved her to death. Like, she was just like that classic in-law who just like starts shit but equally doesn't give a shit, so she'll light the match, and just let it burn.
Yeah. I'm not watching these kids. I don't like kids. I don't like kids. Even when I was a kid, I thought they sucked.
But other than the adults, we have like, we mentioned the kids, but like the main kid, Max, he's kind of the crux of the story, so he's having a real hard time. He got beat up at a play. He got beat up at home. He probably got beat up at school. That's just me wishing a kid got beat up, I guess.
No, it was a little bit nicer than that. No, it was like, hey, can you please, like, I'd like to have more time with my sister. Like, we used to be friends and we've grown apart. I'd like my mom and dad to, maybe love each other a little bit more. And please help my aunt and my uncle who are definitely struggling with some issues. Can you help them, like, pound that out a little bit? My cousins, too, like, they're kind of shit. So can you, like, help them out a little bit, huh, Santa?
Just, hey, Santa, can you unshit my relatives?
Yeah.
Yes. Santa gets there and he goes, look, best I can do is Krampus.
Like, I know the moment he gets found out and everybody roasts him about the letter, he tears it up and tosses it out the window. I know that's supposed to be the part where the movie kind of turns into, like, a mystical horror adventure. But, like, realistically, where the fuck did that go? Like, he just tosses this shit, literally, sheets to the wind. Krampus just gets it?
He's a big proponent of do not litter. I think it's more symbolic than him actually getting the real letter. It's him giving up on the festive spirit, giving up on holiday cheer, him becoming a Grinch, so to speak, him becoming the antithesis to what is holiday cheer. And Krampus goes, all right, fam, you didn't do anything wrong, so I'm going to fuck all this up real nasty like.
I'm still coming for that grandma's ass, too. Owe me?
Bro, you ain't kidding.
For real.
Because she owe me.
Yeah.
That scene later on where they're like 1v1 Grandma and Krampus, that was pretty solid.
You're not kidding, because like the reveal for Krampus is absolutely amazing. Until then, we're kind of given glimpses of him in obstructed snowy backgrounds, or him hopping from roof to roof, which they let you know that he's a big creature, which is wonderful. But his reveal, causing that crack all the way down the wall, which sounds like a magically fit. He is forcing himself down this thing, and his horns come out first, and he rises up to fill the room. Holy shit, what a scene.
Honestly, it's just, I wanted a little bit more grit, like, I don't know, terror, enough like actual horror. Like, the practical effects that you see, especially with Krampus and all his the gingerbread men, and we'll get to a Jack-in-the-Box thing, whatever it is, a little bit later. They look really cool. There's some horror elements in this movie that look really sweet, really cool. All of those things make my score for this movie a little bit higher than they otherwise would be. But I want a little bit more grit,
No, okay, I get that. Like, this movie, like you said, Brady, like, it spends a lot of time just, like, dropping clues and stuff. And in my opinion, I think it benefited the movie quite a lot because, like, I don't know that much about Krampus. And you even mentioned, Chandler, that this movie would benefit for, like, a little bit more lore. Me spending half of this movie, like, letting my imagination trying to figure out what's going to happen next really helped this.
Yeah, Krampus, I mean, for what it means, Krampus looks really cool. He's like a very festive Black Phillip from The Witch, if you've seen that. He's got the big, hairy cloven hooves, big horns, but he's got chains too, so he's into some weird shit. I don't know.
He goes chimney fishing for fat kids. That's what he's into.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, yeah. It's almost like a reverse fat kid from Charlie and Chocolate Factory.
Oh, yeah. Augustus Gloop.
He got unglooped.
Yeah, so we need to sort of set the turn to the second act. What we have after he, sprinkles his little note to Santa out the window. The next morning, there's a power outage. Not just power, but gas is out. Everything is out. There's no food because everything was in the fridge and it's all ruined now. What are we going to do?
Phones are out. Roads are out. We're on our own.
Mm-hmm.
Tremors.
I thought it was going in like, lights are out, food is out, fridge is out.
Ah! Fridge is out.
And you know who else is out? The daughter, because I guess she hasn't talked to her boyfriend in like 7 whole hours or something. So she's like, I'm going to go out in this blizzard just to make sure that he's not, smoking up with another girl or something.
Well, to give her credit as a character, like, she had the best relationship with Max at the beginning. Like, she kind of saw how stressed he was, trying to, like, be over his shoulder during dinner and just trying to, like, whisper advice to him here and there, like, hey, maybe calm down, it's not a big deal. So I think it was the movie's way of just, like, maybe stripping away somebody who you thought was going to be around much longer.
Get rid of one of your allies right now, so all you've got is Toni Collette and Dadam Scott.
Dadam Scott.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty ballsy move because, like, they, like, axe a kid immediately.
Honestly, like, that's kind of something that made me roll my eyes a little bit. You had the chance to, give this thing some teeth. Kill off a kid. No, she's just missing. She'll come back.
Yep.
Did you see the Jack in the Box?
After she goes missing, we get, like, the big treat, of the family still being in a ruckus and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And as Chandler put it, and I really enjoyed, Dadam Scott, he has to go out with Anchorman Jr. there, and they're going to rescue the girl. So they drive their big old pickup truck down to the boyfriend's house, which they could have done with their child, but, they didn't. They opted not to. And we get a glimpse of kind of like the dark humor that's to come, because they see how the house is ruined by Krampus and his minions. And the first thing we get treated to is a gingerbread man who looks fucking awesome, by the way. If you took the one from Shrek and made it have the one from Ginger Dead Man, it's just butcher knife to a refrigerator like Michael Myers got a hold of it.
The little gingerbread dude was a little surprising. Like I mentioned earlier, like about halfway through the movie, we get like the Krampus reveal and everything else. But like, I honestly didn't expect such horrid / festive little monstrosities.
Yeah, when we get those, like I said, those look really cool. When the gingerbread and like the little, I don't know what you want to call it, it's like an angel, owl, demon doll kind of thing, the flying thing. When that's on screen, it looks really cool, and I'm having a good time. But you can only do so much with that.
If the monsters had a bit more violence to them, but this, unfortunately, but I guess fortunately at the same time, is geared for children. There's a lot of humor here. There's a lot of goosebumps, I'll say proper goosebumps level horror, to where you get to see something that will fuck you up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you get to look at it and go, that's pretty terrifying. I mean, we get a scene later on where a child is, as Steve Zissou would say, swallowed, not chewed.
Yep.
But it's still just horrific. It's right up there with like Anaconda style visceral death, because this kid is kicking these little feet and being inhaled by this nightmare of a creature.
Well, speaking of nightmare creatures, the PS1 game. Like we get like a little taste, right? Like David Koechner or whatever, he gets all like glomped by a snowbank or something. Okay, like I understand, like the movie is really trying to keep everything kind of on the hush hush for as long as possible. Respect on that. But like you have like little Bugs Bunny mounds of whatever rooting around for people around the neighborhood, and I don't know, it was a little goofy. I had a little chuckle. It didn't take away from the movie, but I'm just like, come on, guys.
Yeah, they're trudging through the snow, and David Koechner just suddenly gets pulled under, and he's just like, something's biting me! And like, I don't know, they get back to the house, and he's obviously got like a chunk taken out of his leg, and it's like, must have been a bear trap somebody set. We don't have those. This is like a civilized neighborhood.
Right, it's like some suburb off of Chicago, like where the McAllisters live or something. These giant houses.
It looks exactly like that, yeah.
Whatever it was, it would have taken more than one of them to eat up old Fred and his whole flock of sheep.
Oh, yeah.
I just wish he would have thought of like a better lie, like, man, there was a snake in my boot. And all the kids would be like, oh, yeah, right.
This is from that one movie. But yeah, they overhear them, like, you know, the adults talking amongst themselves. What are we going to tell the kids? I don't know, the truth?
You do fucking not.
The truth is, we gotta barricade this house Call of Duty zombie style. That's the truth.
Omi, stoke the fire.
For real. Like, that was a cool moment. Like, you know, like we mentioned earlier, Grandma, she knows all the tips and tricks and cheat codes for Krampus and whatnot. And like, when she gets serious, it was kind of fun. You know, it's almost like a John Wick moment or something. Like, you know, everything just kind of quiets down. She's like, keep the fire warm. You know? It's like, wait, weren't you some German lady?
Yeah, the entire movie and I got more questions. I'm sorry. I'm this is just who I am. So she only speaks German through like almost the entire movie. She only whips out her English whenever it's very convenient. The only one that seems to understand her German is like the little kid, Max. Her own son doesn't even speak German. Adam Scott is just like full on English and is just like, yeah, I don't know. Sounds like she's talking out of her ass or something. How did his mother grow up speaking like fluent German and him not pick up any of it?
Maybe being Dutch isn't all that much of a banger.
Oh, you mean Deutsch?
No. What
I've got here today is Focal Banger. This is from The Alchemist. This is a 7.0% alcohol by volume out of somewhere in Vermont. This was one of the sort of originators of that hazy New England-style IPA that has just engulfed the beer world now. This is one of the big ones out of it. And for a big reason. This is great. This is very smooth, definitely hazy. It tells you to drink it from the can, but what are you, a cop? I'm drinking it out of a glass, and you can't see through it at all. It's got a nice foamy head on it. Hoppy, but not overly green. It's a little tropical, a little sweet. It's good. It's damn good.
Half of that got into Chan Man's laugh, but you know what else is good? This scene coming up.
Dude, for as cold as it is, the only thing that they have keeping them warm is the fireplace, and none of them are even near it.
They're just cuddling around each other, you know, getting a little bit of that cousinly body heat.
I'll give it some wiggle room, though, because, like, the way the grandma or whatever was talking about the fire, maybe it's, like, a little magical. Maybe you have to keep it hot, like, as in, like, this is what's warming the family inside and out.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So the next thing I've got is the two girl cousins, you know, the two little redneck girls, David Koechner's kids. They've got to take a trip to the second floor because shitter's full, as I said earlier. Somebody backed that thing up too far, so they got to go to the bathroom.
Well, it's a horror movie, so I hear. So, you know, people have to split up, and the only way they can split up when they're trapped in a house is just, like, go to the next floor, I guess. Mm-hmm. Well, I do enjoy this movie a lot, but this is definitely a moment where I was just like, audible eye roll. They roll upstairs. You're like, huh, I hear this missing person's voice. They haven't been here in 2 days, but surely they're upstairs. And I'm just like, all right.
Where have you been? Come up here, I'll show you. No.
For real, just straight no. But then they're like, I got presents. And they went, fuck.
Oh, wait, they're the dumb kids.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. But they do go up there and they see, this is actually really cool. I don't really love this movie, but this was pretty freaking cool, right?
I don't know if it's just like puppetry, animatronics, all the above, all the Christmas creatures. Fantastic.
Yeah, and there's so many, such a variety.
The creature that we are going to be speaking of, which I'm sure we're all going to gush over for at least a moment, is the Jack in the Box out of the box. And boy, oh boy, it is one actor as the upper half and two dancing women, literally, like ballet dancer women, as the lower half of it, writhing around. That's why it has like such weird movement in its lower half. It's two women in that sack, kind of squirming.
I just thought that was the outline of a swallowed Owen Wilson.
Oh, no. Wow. Muffled.
Of course, Jack out of the box is great, but you have that like teddy bear, which was a lot of fun. You got like dozens of elves that show up, I guess, periodically. You can just count on them, you know.
Yeah, and they're not like, you know, Santa's elves. They feel more like, you know, those little trolls that are bankers in the Harry Potter series.
Oh, right.
That are really supposed to be, you know, a certain type of people. But they look like those, but they're mean.
I really like the elves. I thought that they gave a very, very labyrinth vibe.
Yeah.
Like with the way that they were introduced and how they interact.
This part of the movie, I am completely cool with. I am in for this.
Well, the last one we've kind of already mentioned, but just because there's a plethora of them, I feel like it's important to mention the group of gingerbread men, like in the kitchen, trying to assassinate David Koechner with a nail gun.
Yes.
Which is a brand new sentence.
Yes, David Koechner getting full on trying to get assassinated by this gingerbread man with a nail gun. Did you guys look at the IMDb credits? Do you know who's playing this nail gun wielding gingerbread man? That is Seth Green. This cast is star-studded.
Damn.
You know it's a feature film whenever Seth Green's name appears in it.
Right. So with everybody kind of like introduce all the baddies and whatnot, you got the dumb kids upstairs getting all eated. Everyone else hears the kids scream upstairs, so they just leave David behind. They go upstairs and just get like jumped.
Yeah. Man, everything that takes place in this attic is a joy. Like, I've been tough on this movie, but at this point, I am in. We've got all of this chaos going on. And Homegirl, the aunt, the wife of David Koechner, who's been like, you know, quiet, reserved, kind of just there to make babies kind of lady through this whole movie. She goes off. She protects her flock.
Yes, she does. She grabs up that axe and gets to work. Everyone's getting like bullied by, you know, Megatron and Teddy Ruxpin, and she's like,
Oh, I totally forgot there was a Gorgonite in this movie. That's
nice.
Insane. Yeah, that was badass too. He just starts stabbing Adam Scott in the back, and that's just his problem.
I'll come back for you.
That is, to your point earlier, Chandler, that is kind of like a goofier part that could have been a little bit more scary, because like he's like, ow, I'm getting stabbed, and when Toni Collette like tears it off his back, he's like, whoo, thanks, honey.
Toni Collette and Addicts, you know, name a better duo.
What about Child and Telephone Pole?
Ooh, that's a good one. Y'all should go back and watch unrelated completely. Y'all should go back and listen to that Hereditary cast. It was a good one.
Peanuts and allergies for 100, Alex.
Who makes that much fucking walnut cake at a party? I don't know. Let's talk about this movie, I guess.
Well, this is the moment. Everybody's all scatterbrained, but they've kind of got their shit together and they're headed out. Krampus is in the building.
Yes, he is, and he only wants to talk to one person. I mean, he might want to talk to some others, but he's only gonna talk to one person. Omi is like, bet you didn't think you'd see me again, huh, Krampus?
Come on, Krampus. I'm the one you want. Put the gun down.
Yeah, I like the part when Krampus was like, Matrix, you're right.
How you been? All these years, I haven't seen you since Dresden. That was cool, huh?
Right. She's like, oh, did you remember me? And he pulls out a locket with her picture.
Oh, Herr Fräulein, get inside sack.
Und Sack. All right.
Und Sacken. Yeah, but the family, they're making their getaway, and like all, horror movie tropes, we got to get the one where the villain or the villainous team picks off the remaining people until you get to the last girl one by one. And that's what we get to see with various, quote-unquote deaths or captures, mostly by the snow trimmers.
But the final girl in this it's a little boy, ain't it?
He's a little bitch.
I mean, Max did pretty good.
I guess.
He stood up to Krampus. I don't know if I would have had the balls to walk up to like a 7 to 8 foot tall, cloven hoofed monster man with massive horns and a dead face mask and a bag full of animated horrors and be like, I want my family back. Don't throw me in the Hellmouth. And he's like, fuck you, Hellmouth it is.
Take me.
Yeah.
Take me. No, you get a bell and I'll throw your ass in.
That's what I'm saying. He shot his shot, and even though it wiggly hand worked out, he did it.
This is the scene that purely makes me think about Trick or Treat right here. It just feels like a bunch of trolls and elves and animatronic toys and just things just out here having a party, probably drinking some of that schnapps that Conchata Ferrell back there had. They're having a good time, and Max is like, hey, can I get my family back, please?
Family.
He tried a sympathy card on old Krampus, like Mr. Burns, like, please donate to some cause, and he just sends the dogs on him.
Best I could do is purgatory and just throws him in the mouth.
I guess spoilers, and that's where we kind of end up. He makes a deal with the Krampus. Wiggly hand gesture again. And he wakes up on Christmas Day. Wow, everybody's there. Grandpa. Other people.
This is supposed to be a horror movie, not a fun Folgers commercial.
Damn.
I mean, the movie reminds you, Max gets a present. Turns out it's the bell. It's a little jingle bell that Crimble's John Kimball had around his neck.
He got two. Terrible, man.
It was like, okay, he got the bell from Krampus, which was what, in my head, that was supposed to be what he exchanged for his family, or that was the deal that I thought was going on. But he gets that back. And then as soon as everybody sees that, it's like all of their memories from last night start returning, and it's like, oh fuck, what did we do? How much of that schnapps did we drink?
And then David Capper's like, oh, whammy, and the credits roll.
Pretty much. Were they expecting a Krampus 2 after this? Was this supposed to be a franchise?
Why not? Like the ultimate crossover or something like that. Krampus versus Freddy versus Jason versus Ash versus Kramer.
Oh man, Kramer's gonna win.
I mean, whatever you got in there, throw it in there. No soup for you. Fuck it. I don't care.
So for me, again, I'll say it the same way I started it. This is such a festive feeling movie. I know it's PG-13 for horror, and that can be frowned upon, especially in the community of horror fans. I can look past that and appreciate the fact that this is one of those entry-level horror movies that you can watch on Christmas. Like if you sat down with your family and you're tired of watching Turbo Man or Jingle All the Way, which is the same movie, I just used the proper title. But if you're tired of watching those and you want to watch something else that's got a little bit of bite to it, this is it. It's still Christmas, but it's spooky Christmas.
I enjoyed it too. I don't think this reinvents anything. I don't really think it does anything wildly special that you would want to seek this out in particular. It's just a good, solid movie. It's very well done given its constraints. It's just 90 minutes, well-rounded, well-acted. A singular idea that's executed very well. It does its thing, and it's inoffensive. I would recommend it.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing. From horror movies, I kind of want a little bit of offense, this leans a little bit too much in the Christmas movie territory. There's a lot of really cool effects in here, so there's a lot to like. There is. But overall, there wasn't enough for me to sink my teeth into. There's a lot of great character actors. They didn't really chew up enough for me. I guess I just want a good, gritty, an A24, historical horror Krampus movie. Give me Krampus as the witch or something.
Well, there you have it. That was Krampus. If you have any strong feelings about Krampus, leave it in that Krampus below.
Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Be sure to bash whatever Krampus bells you got down there so you don't ever miss what Krampus we got coming up next for you.
Follow us on social media if you want some more of this Krampussy.
Oh, God. Now I have to bleep out the whole show.
He is thick, though.
Ooh. God, the width of a hoof.
You can find us... his Krampus toe. You can find us anywhere podcasts are available. We're even on YouTube. We're pretty funny. Give us a listen.